My wife came to the tournament, not knowing I was playing there. I saw her in the hall, smiling, beaming, wearing an opponent's t-shirt, and the moment she shouted, "Come on, my love," I realized that she was not shouting at me. This is a story about lies, fear, and public humiliation, which turned into the worst, and at the same time, the most powerful moment of my life. About how one betrayal in front of a crowd forced me to rise up, not as a man, but as a person who finally stopped hiding. I'm Noah, 30 years old, male, and I guess the story really starts with a lie. Not the kind you tell to hurt someone, but the kind that grows claws and starts hurting you instead. For 2 years, I told my wife Alyssa I worked night shifts at a warehouse. Every evening at 6 p.m., I'd kiss her goodbye, grab my duffel bag, and drive across town to my friend Jake's apartment, where I'd practice for hours with my esports team. To her, gaming was pathetic. Childish, she'd say. You're a grown man sitting in front of pixels while other people are building real futures. It stung. Every time she said that, a part of me shrank. So instead of defending what I loved, I hid it. It's strange how easy lying gets when it's for survival. At first, it was just small excuses. Working overtime, my boss asked me to stay late. Then it became whole fabricated schedules, fake coworkers, even fake complaints about fake managers. I became fluent in deceit just to keep peace in my own house. And the worst part? I told myself it was love. Alyssa wasn't always cruel. We'd met when I was 24, and back then she was magnetic, sharp, ambitious, wild in a way that made the world feel bigger. She worked nights stocking shelves at a distribution warehouse, and she'd come home smelling like cardboard and lavender lotion, collapsing into bed with me, like she'd been running from something all her life. But somewhere along the way, that fire turned inward. She started looking down on everything I loved, the tournaments, the online friends, even Jake, who'd been my best friend since college. It became a house rule, no gaming talk when Alyssa's home. So when our team got invited to a major regional tournament, the kind that could launch a real career, I didn't even tell her. I just said I had a warehouse double shift. She smiled, kissed me, said, "Don't work too hard." And I remember thinking, if we win this, I'll finally tell her. I'll show her it's real. She'll understand. That night, I packed my controller and headset like sacred objects. I even brought her favorite granola bar for good luck. I wanted to make her proud, even if she never knew it.
Hey guys, real quick before we keep going, don't forget to sub and drop a like if you're enjoying the story. Thank you very much. Enjoy watching.
But pride is a funny thing. It makes you blind right before it makes you break. Because the next night, when I walked into the arena, bright lights, roaring crowd, the smell of energy drinks, and nerves, I saw her, Alyssa, front row, wearing the jersey of my biggest rival. At first, I honestly thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I blinked, leaned forward in my gaming chair, heart hammering. But there she was, Alyssa, my wife, sitting near the front row, laughing, cheering, absolutely glowing. For one dizzy second, I thought maybe she'd come to surprise me. Maybe she'd finally come around, ready to support me. My chest actually felt warm with relief. I imagined walking up to her after the match, telling her the truth, maybe even laughing about all the stupid lies. Then she reached into her tote bag and pulled something out, a jersey, bright red, the color of the enemy team. My rival's number plastered across the back, and right in front of me, she slipped it on. It was like the world tilted sideways. The air left my lungs. My hands went cold on the controller. I stared as she started yelling, "Let's go, baby! You got this!" Her voice cutting through the noise, high and proud. And then he turned. Tyler, the guy she was cheering for. My rival. Tall, cocky, and smirking, right back at her, like they shared some secret language. Something cracked in me right there. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, deep. Like a hairline fracture running through the middle of my chest. The match started, but my brain didn't. I missed shots I'd hit in my sleep. My crosshair drifted. My focus was gone. Every time Alyssa yelled his name, my stomach twisted. Jake leaned over mid-round, whispering, "Bro, what's wrong with you?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. When we lost the first map, my team called timeout. I sat there, staring across the stage, watching Alyssa clap for him. Jake followed my gaze, froze, then whispered, "Is that your wife?" I nodded once. The silence that followed was heavier than any defeat. Something shifted in the team after that. No more pity, just fire. Jake slapped my shoulder hard enough to sting and said, "Let's crush them." It snapped something awake in me. I don't know what happened after that. Instinct, rage, adrenaline. But I started playing like a man possessed. Every headshot felt like an act of defiance. Every round we won pulled me back from the edge. And slowly, impossibly, we came back. When we hit match point, I could hear the crowd start chanting my name. Not hers, not his, mine. The final kill was mine too. I dropped my controller, stood up, shaking. The lights hit me, the cheers roared. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't hiding. Then I saw her face on the big screen, pale, eyes wide, her hand frozen mid-wave. The cameras had caught her. The crowd saw her jersey. And just like that, the truth I'd been hiding for 2 years was out for everyone to see. The lights were blinding. Cameras flashed from every direction. I was supposed to be smiling, holding the trophy, giving interviews, but all I could do was stare at her. Alyssa froze when the big screen zoomed in on her face. You could see the moment she realized the crowd understood. The enemy team's jersey, her cheering for Tyler, her sitting front row while her own husband was on stage across from him. Then Tyler, my rival, the guy she'd been yelling for, looked at me, confused. He mouthed something I couldn't hear. The announcer's voice cut through the chaos, laughing awkwardly into the mic, trying to lighten the mood, but the crowd had already turned. Booing, actual booing. People threw popcorn. Someone shouted, "That's his wife?" Alyssa's expression broke. She ducked down, trying to cover her face, but the crowd was relentless. The chant started, low and ugly. "Homewrecker! Homewrecker!" She bolted for the aisle, and for a second I thought she'd make it out. But some guy, another player I think, stood up and yelled, "She told me she was single too." The noise exploded. Everyone realized what that meant. Tyler's head snapped toward him. His jaw tightened. The betrayal hit him at the same time it hit me. It wasn't just me. She'd done this before. I stood there on stage, gripping the trophy so hard my knuckles went white. I wanted to scream, to throw it, to disappear, anything but stand under those lights while the entire venue watched my marriage burn in real time. Jake touched my shoulder and whispered, "We need to go, man." But I couldn't move. I just kept staring as security tried to push through the mob. Alyssa was yelling something, maybe my name, maybe excuses, but her voice was drowned out by hundreds of angry strangers shouting her down. When the guards finally got her out a side exit, the cameras turned back to me. Everyone wanted a reaction. Reporters were shoving microphones in my face. "How do you feel?" "Did you know?" I didn't answer. I just said, "I'm thankful my team had my back when my wife didn't," and walked off stage. The crowd roared, half cheering, half stunned. Jake followed me backstage, blocking cameras with his arm. We made it to the locker room, and that's when I finally sat down. My hands were shaking. My vision kept tunneling in and out. The sound of the crowd was still echoing through the walls, but all I could hear was that one sentence replaying in my head. She told me she was single too. Because that was the moment it stopped being a lie I told to protect us. That was the moment I realized she'd been lying too, just for fun. I sat in that locker room long after everyone else had gone quiet. My team tried to talk, tried to joke, tried to break the tension, but the noise around me felt like it was underwater. Jake sat beside me, his hand on my shoulder, saying nothing. I was grateful for that silence. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing inside my bag. I didn't even have to look to know who it was. Alyssa. The woman who'd just turned my life into a sideshow. I finally pulled it out. 30 missed calls, dozens of texts. They started pleading, then turned angry, then accusing. "You humiliated me. You made me look insane. You lied too, Noah." I turned the phone off and stared at my reflection in a locker mirror. Red eyes, trembling hands, the reflection of someone who had just lost his marriage in front of a stadium. Jake offered to drive me home, but I couldn't face that apartment. Every corner of it smelled like her. The vanilla candle she burned every night, the mug she left on the counter. I told him to take me to his place instead. The ride there was silent. Streetlights streaked across the windshield while I replayed every lie I'd told and every word she'd thrown at me over the years. "You'll never make anything out of gaming. It's pathetic. Grow up, Noah." And now? She'd destroyed me at the one place I actually mattered. When we got to Jake's apartment, he gave me his couch, a blanket, a glass of water. He didn't ask questions. I lay there staring at the ceiling until morning, the glow of my phone lighting up every few minutes with new notifications. Messages, DMs, even tags from tournament clips, already going viral. By sunrise, my entire life was trending. Screenshots, slow-motion replays, people making memes out of Alyssa, ducking behind the security guards. The first thing I did was open her texts again. The tone had shifted overnight, from rage to begging. "Please talk to me." I didn't mean for it to happen like that. He doesn't matter. It was just one time. We can fix this. I almost laughed. "One time," I whispered to the empty apartment. "You wore his jersey, Alyssa." Around noon, I finally texted her, "Meet me at the coffee shop on campus. 2-0, public place." Her reply came fast. "You don't get to dictate where I go. You owe me a conversation." No, I didn't. But I needed closure, or whatever version of closure you can scrape together from the ashes of a public humiliation. When I showed up that afternoon, she was already there, sunglasses on, tapping her nails against the table like she hadn't just detonated my life 24 hours earlier. And when she looked up at me, she actually smiled, like she still thought she had control of the story. Update. I wasn't planning to post again this soon, but holy hell, the reaction to my story blew up. Half of you were calling her the queen of betrayal. Others said I was an idiot for lying about gaming. Fair. I was, but let me be clear. Tomorrow, I'm not walking into a reconciliation. I'm walking into a reckoning, because for once, I'm not the one hiding. She took her sunglasses off the moment I sat down, like we were about to have some normal marital chat instead of the aftermath of a live stream betrayal. The cafe smelled like burnt espresso and sugar, but underneath that, I could still smell her perfume. I hated that I recognized it. Alyssa folded her hands, fake calm, and started with, "Noah, this has gotten completely out of control." I almost laughed. Out of control? She'd turned my life into a public circus, and now she was acting like we were co-managers of the same disaster. She kept talking. "I know it looked bad, but I didn't mean to embarrass you. I just Tyler invited me, and I didn't realize it would blow up like that. My chest tightened. You didn't realize cheering for my rival, wearing his jersey, might blow up? Her expression cracked for a second, then hardened. You lied first, she said. You pretended to work nights for 2 years. You think that didn't humiliate me when I found out? I stared at her. You found out and then decided to sleep with him? Don't twist it, she snapped, her voice rising enough that people turned their heads. I was lonely, Noah. You were never home. You were obsessed with that stupid game, and you made me feel invisible. Something in me snapped too. So you made me a punchline in front of thousands of people? That's how you fix loneliness? Her jaw clenched, tears welling but not falling. Alyssa always knew how to cry like a performance. I didn't think you'd even notice, she whispered. You love that screen more than me. I took a deep breath. My hands were shaking, but I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of seeing it. You're right, I said quietly. I do love the game, because, at least, when I mess up there, I can start over. There's no pretending. She flinched like I'd slapped her. For a moment, the mask dropped, and I saw something mean in her eyes. Everyone thinks I'm a monster because of you, she hissed. You could have defended me. I didn't have to, I said. The truth defended itself. That's when she lost control. Her chair screeched backward as she stood, voice trembling, and loud enough to make the entire cafe go still. You think you're some kind of victim? You lied to me for years. You're pathetic, Noah. You'll never be anything more than a guy who hides behind a screen. Her outburst echoed. The barista froze mid-pour. I stood up, looked her right in the eye, and said, maybe, but at least I'm not hiding behind someone else's jersey. Then I walked out, left her standing there, shaking and furious, surrounded by people who'd all seen the tournament clips and were whispering her name. Outside, the air felt cold and clean, like the first breath after drowning. That night, I started planning the charity event our team had postponed, something I'd been dreaming about for months. Only this time, I was adding a twist, a segment on honesty, relationships, and redemption in gaming. And I already knew exactly who I was going to dedicate it to. Not Alyssa. The version of myself I'd buried trying to please her. The next few days after that cafe blow-up felt like walking through the debris of an earthquake. Everything looked the same from the outside, but the foundation was gone. I crashed at Jake's apartment again, sleeping on his lumpy couch, half alive off takeout and caffeine. Alyssa's texts never stopped, walls of messages switching between, I love you, please talk to me, and you ruined my life. She even called Jake's phone when I blocked her. He just shook his head and said, dude, you need to lock this down legally. So I did. I found a lawyer online that same night and scheduled a meeting about separation. I wasn't even sure if I wanted divorce yet, but I needed distance before she burned my life again. 2 mornings later, I stopped by the apartment to pack more clothes. Her car was gone, but the door was unlocked. Inside looked like a war zone, clothes everywhere, takeout boxes, stacked on the counter, a wine glass smashed near the sink. My framed photo from our wedding lay face down on the floor. The glass cracked through my half of the picture. I picked it up carefully. Alyssa had scrawled across the back in marker, You lied first. I just stood there holding it, feeling this weird mix of guilt and disgust. Yeah, I had lied, but I hadn't destroyed anyone. I hadn't turned love into performance art for the crowd. I put the photo in the trash, grabbed my gaming gear, and left before she came back. The next day, a text came from an unknown number. You think you can ghost me and walk away clean? Everyone will know what kind of liar you really are. It had to be her. The number was new, but the tone was pure Alyssa, rage barely wrapped in self-pity. Jake wanted me to report it, but I ignored it. I wasn't going to play her game again. Instead, I poured everything into the upcoming charity stream I was organizing. I reached out to Beck, our manager, and asked if we could partner with a mental health foundation for gamers. He jumped on it. The idea was simple, 6 hours of live streaming, real talk about burnout, honesty, and recovery. And yeah, I was going to talk about the tournament. Not by name, not by dragging her, but by showing what it looks like to fall apart and rebuild. 2 nights before the stream, I moved into a small studio apartment. Just a mattress, a desk, and my setup by the window. The silence felt strange, but freeing. When I opened one of the boxes Alyssa had left outside my door, there was a hoodie, an old photo album, and a note. Her handwriting neat, almost gentle. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just didn't want to be invisible. I read it once, then tore it in half. She wanted to be seen? Fine. Tomorrow, the entire world was going to see exactly what honesty looks like when you stop lying to survive. And this time, I'd be the one holding the controller. The morning of the charity stream, I woke up before sunrise. My new apartment was quiet. No arguments, no slammed doors, no footsteps pacing the hallway. Just the hum of my gaming rig and the low buzz of nerves in my stomach. Jake arrived around 9, carrying breakfast sandwiches and 2 energy drinks. You ready for this? He asked. Ready to talk, I said, though my voice shook a little. We set everything up, lighting, audio checks, donation links, overlays. The Charity Foundation had promoted the event heavily, and by noon, thousands of viewers were already waiting in the chat. When the stream went live, Jake started with introductions. Then I took over. Hey everyone, I'm Noah. If you've been following the scene lately, yeah, you probably know who I am. The chat flooded instantly. Hearts, supportive comments, a few trolls, but I stayed steady. I want to talk about honesty, I said. Not the kind that's easy, the kind that costs you. And I told the truth. Not everything, not names or dirty details, but enough. How I'd lied to someone I loved because I was ashamed of what made me happy. How the lies built a wall, and how hiding who I was made me lose more than I ever thought possible. I could feel the tension leave my chest with every word. It wasn't revenge, it was release. When the 6-hour stream ended, we'd raised over $30,000 for mental health programs in gaming. The chat was full of people saying things like, I hid my art from my parents for years, and this hit harder than I expected. Jake clapped me on the back, grinning. You did it, man. For the first time in months, I actually believed it. But of course, Alyssa couldn't leave it alone. That night, she posted on social media a long, dramatic caption about toxic relationships and how everyone lies in different ways. No names, but everyone knew who she meant. Within an hour, my DMs filled with screenshots and comments from fans defending me, others attacking her, and some trying to stir things up. She messaged me privately, too. You're exploiting our pain for attention. I stared at the screen for a full minute, then typed back, No, Alyssa. I'm turning it into something that helps people. That's what you never understood. Her reply came fast, venomous. You'll regret making me look bad. And for the first time, I didn't flinch. I blocked her again and set my phone down. Because that was the difference now. She was still trying to control the story. But I'd finally learned how to write my own. When I went to bed that night, I didn't dream about her. I dreamed about a stage, a crowd, and me, standing tall under the lights, no lies, no masks, just playing the game I loved, and finally winning for the right reasons. A week after the charity stream, I met with my lawyer again. The separation papers were ready. Just a few signatures stood between me and freedom. I sat there staring at the stack, the weight of 2 years of lies and one spectacular betrayal, condensed into a few sheets of legal paper. I signed every page without hesitation. No theatrics, no second guessing, just pen strokes and silence. When I slid the papers back, the lawyer gave me a nod that felt like a door quietly closing. That night, I walked home through the cool city air. The streets were slick from an evening rain, lights reflecting off puddles like shifting pixels. I passed a cafe window and caught my reflection, hoodie, backpack, tired eyes, and realized I didn't hate the guy looking back anymore. When I got home, Jake texted, Big scrim tomorrow. You in? I replied, wouldn't miss it. The next day at practice, the air felt different, lighter, no tension clawing at my throat, no guilt twisting my stomach. Just the hum of focus and the familiar click of keys. My timing was sharp again, my aim precise. Jake noticed, grinning mid-round. You're back, man. Yeah, I said. Feels like it. Later that week, we played a qualifier. Not a huge one. Smaller stage, fewer lights. But it mattered to me. My redemption match. The first real test of whether I could stand on that stage again without shaking. The countdown started. My headset slipped on, sealing me in that old cocoon of sound and adrenaline. The match was brutal, neck and neck all the way. My pulse pounded, but this time, I didn't think about her. Not once. Every play was about the team, the moment, the craft. When we won, I didn't cry or shake. I just smiled. A quiet, steady smile. That night, I celebrated with Jake and the guys at a late-night diner. Greasy burgers, laughter, terrible coffee. The kind of simple joy I'd forgotten existed. When I got back to my apartment, I found a small cardboard box at my door. Alyssa's handwriting again. Inside were a few leftover things of mine. A controller I'd thought I'd lost, a framed photo from our first vacation, and my wedding ring. She tucked it into a small envelope with a note. I hope you find peace. For once, I didn't feel angry, just tired. I put the ring in its box, slid it into a drawer, and whispered, I already did. A month later, our team launched another charity event. This one focused on rebuilding after failure. Beck asked if I wanted to speak again, but I told him I'd rather just play, because I'd said enough. That night after the stream ended, I sat in my gaming chair and booted up a solo ranked match. No fans, no cameras, no noise. Just me and the game that started it all. Halfway through the match, Jake texted, Proud of you, brother. I smiled, typed back. Took me long enough, huh? As the match ended, one clean, perfect victory. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and let the sound of the final windscreen wash over me. For the first time in years, I wasn't hiding, pretending, or proving anything. I was just playing, and that was enough.